Welcome to Onslow County today. I'm your host, Lisa Whitman-Grice, and the holidays have arrived. The elves here at Onslow County Park and Recreation have been very busy preparing this beautiful Christmas tree for our backdrop today in preparation for their big event that's coming up. We have some wonderful guests also joining us here by the tree. We'll be talking with LaQuisha Cadwallader with Onslow County Park and Recreation all about their winter activities. We'll also visit with Harry Smith from the Onslow County Tax Office, Katie Lemaire from Piers. We'll talk with two terrific elves from the Onslow County Public Library, Matt Mano and Jennifer Hogue. And finally, we'll talk with Chris White and Mitch Spunger from the Onslow County Albert J. Ellis Airport. It's the holiday season, and we're so glad you're joining us for Onslow County today. Welcome to Onslow County today at our beautiful location, and we have Miss LaQuisha Cadwallader with Onslow County Park and Recreation. LaQuisha, thank you for inviting us to be here today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for being here.
And you arranged a beautiful day, and what a gorgeous backdrop.
Yes, beautiful.
This is very new to
Yes.
Onslow County, your park and recreation site here at Onslow Pines. You have beautiful pine trees here, but I'm guessing you didn't grow this one?
No, ma'am. Unfortunately, we did not have anything to do with the growth of that one.
So, as we were off camera, you were explaining a little bit about how this beautiful tree came to be here. I'd love to learn about the process and what folks can be looking forward to this month.
It was a process. We have some great staff here. Our maintenance team was able to offload it off the truck. Big panels or whatnot coming off the truck. It was a little bit overwhelming, but it turned out to be beautiful. And we cannot wait for December 11th, which is our Christmas tree lighting, to plug it in and just let it be festive throughout the pines.
A little bit of holiday magic.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you mentioned people love statistics. And when I say people, I love statistics.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me how tall this tree is.
This is a 35-foot tree.
This is a Griswold tree. This is
Yes.
not fitting in my house.
Oh, no, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
35 feet tall.
Yes.
All these panels, these beautiful ornaments.
Yes, ma'am.
And you all are going to light this tree and illuminate this whole area on December 11th. Tell us about that day, when it begins, and what we can look forward to.
On December 11th is going to be our first ever Christmas tree lighting event here at Onslow Pines Park. It's going to begin at 2 o'clock. And it's going to go until 6 p.m.
Okay.
We are excited to have some small shop vendors, some arts and craft vendors, our local talent such as White Oak Drumline,
Okay.
White Oak High School Drumline. They'll be out here to perform for us. Onslow Winds Jazz Band will be here. We have a soloist coming, Miss Kelly Richmond. Lejeune Dance Theater. We're just so excited. We're going to have hot chocolate. The campfire is going to be lit for them to do s'mores. Like I said, hot chocolate. Just fun time. Arts and crafts for the kids. And most importantly, Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus will be here.
Fantastic. So,
Yes.
Mr. and Mrs. Claus will be here. All these goodies and crafts and make and takes,
Yes.
music, dancing, and of course the centerpiece of it all.
Yes, ma'am.
The tree.
The famous Christmas tree.
This is awesome.
Yes.
So it really is a great way. You know, you and I know that the past 2 years have been very difficult, to say the least.
Yes.
And about really kind of bringing this kind of joy to the community. Your elves must just be working them little selves. They're ready.
Yes, they're so ready. They've been working so hard, and we are ready.
Well, they were, I mean, literally minutes before we came on camera, They were putting some finishing touches on it
Yes,
for us, so we
yes.
were very appreciative for that.
Yes, ma'am.
So big day on the 11th, 2 o'clock, things need to start. People need to get packed. What do you encourage people to do? Wear Christmas jammies, wear their Christmas sweaters. I mean,
Whatever they feel like being in that's festive and brings them joy and just makes it merry and bright out here. Pajamas, because they'll be able to take photos in front of the tree. So if they want to do their family pajamas or they want to do their festive holiday sweaters, anything, just dress warm.
dress warmly, but dress fun and ready for the celebration.
Yes, yes.
Now your celebration continues because it's not just the 11th that you've got a big day. What do you have going on the next weekend?
The next week on December 15th, we're going to do something for our toddlers, which is called Elf in the Woods.
Okay.
And that'll be at Hines Farm, and people can register at onslow.recdesk.com to register their toddlers to come out, find that elf in the woods, go through the woods for a nice scavenger hunt. Also, we'll do hot chocolate, we'll do donuts, and they'll watch a movie, and lots of arts and crafts.
That is the perfect day,
Yes.
right? Hot
Yes.
chocolate and donuts, movie time.
Yes.
And then looking for an elf.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have to be tricky because they hide.
Oh, man.
You never know. You might
never
just
know
be
about
talking
that
to
elf.
one.
That's right.
You don't know.
That's right.
So that day, is there a fee for kids to or families to join in?
Yes, ma'am. It's $5 per child.
Okay.
Yes, and they can pay that fee when they register online.
All righty. And that's for toddlers?
Yes, ages 2 to 5.
Ages 2 to 5. Okay. Then everybody's out for Christmas break.
Yes.
We have our holiday celebration, and the week after Christmas, you all know that sometimes, families have to get back to work.
Yes.
But kiddos are still out of school, so you have something for our families then
Yes,
too.
ma'am. During that holiday break, we have holiday camp, and that's going to be at River of Life this year. And you can also register the same way at onslow.recdesk.com. It's a $20 per day fee, but that includes cost of the field trips. We're planning on taking some really fun field trips, arts and crafts and things like that. So it's going to be fun.
There is no being home being bored.
No.
Not going to let that happen.
No, ma'am. Not when there's Onslow County Parks and Rec.
Awesome. Now, Miss LaQuisha, we know that you all have such beautiful parks, and the holidays are sometimes, when families do have that time off, it's a great way to just get out.
It is.
And get some exercise, maybe walk off some candy calories.
Yes.
Tell us one more time, I'd love to know how we can find out about your locations, all of your activities, and how to register for any special programs you've got going on this holiday season.
You can always visit our website, onslowcountync.gov. You can find our locations of our parks up there, and also what we have, our events and our programs. You can find all those dates and times. Also, you can visit our Facebook page. We share a lot of things on our Facebook page, all our events and our programs. And to register for our events and programs, they can visit onslow.recdesk.com.
Well, it is always a pleasure to visit with you, and thank you for bringing us some holiday joy this year.
Thank you, Miss Lisa.
Welcome back to Onslow County today, and joining us now is Katie Lemaire with Piers. Katie, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we are going to be talking about your TASCO group that you all have, but we always like to remind folks exactly what Piers is and what it means to our community.
Piers is a nonprofit agency who works under the umbrella of Department of Social Services. We have 3 major programs: our parent education, our adolescent parenting program, and our free respite childcare.
Okay. And TASCO is an organization that you all have created that works with multiple agencies around the county. Tell us a little bit about TASCO, what the acronym stands for, and then we'll talk about some programs you've got coming up at the first of the year.
Absolutely. So TASCO stands for Turning Adversity into Success for Children of Onslow. And Piers is the community backbone agency of this organization. And we have over 50 community partners in this agency, and it is very exciting what's happening. Our goal is to inform the community, especially parents, about trauma and trauma-informed care for their children. And with that is learning how to be that person for your child to help build resilience in a child, to counteract the trauma that children face growing up in today's world.
You know, we certainly have talked about throughout the last 20 months or so the impact that the pandemic has had on our families, and not being in their typical classroom setting or within their regular childcare setting, or just being at home and perhaps having had illness in your family.
Absolutely. And before that, our children were faced with hurricanes. So that's a normal part for our children, and we need, as agencies, as the community in general, and as parents, what do we do for our children so that doesn't have lasting effects on that? And TASCO, that is our goal, to completely remove child abuse and neglect from our community. And it's a possibility, and we want to do that for our children. We want them to have a wonderful future.
Well, I know a lot of sort of a central mantra of TASCO that you all have focused on that really spoke to me was the notion of, rather than saying, not just to a child, but to an adult, what is wrong with you?
Right.
Because it's not what's wrong with you.
No,
it's what,
not.
Katie?
It's what happened to you.
Sure.
And we are all about that in our parenting classes at Peers. We talk extensively about feelings and how to teach your children what the feelings are and what it looks like in your body and how to express it in a healthy way. And we start with the parents, because we can't teach our children if we're not doing it ourselves.
Sure,
so we focus on the parents and hope that they will be those important people in their children's lives to combat this trauma that children face.
Well, you speak to first addressing it with parents, and everyone has had a moment, multiple situations occur in their lifetime, and we carry that with us. And as you spoke to resiliency, it's how we move beyond it, how we move beyond it to lead healthy, happier lives. How do you all talk about building resiliency?
So it's important for people to realize that you're not born with resilience. You learn resilience, and you gain resilience from those around you. Having that strong person in your life, hopefully mom or dad, but it can be aunts and uncles, it could be that neighbors, just some adult that has taken a special interest in loving and caring and guiding a child, to tell them that they are important. That's what we all need. We all have to hear that.
Well, you all are making a special outreach effort at the beginning of the year to speak to this. Maybe we've all heard the notion of trauma or resiliency, but not really knowing how to identify it or to address it, or seeing where it might have manifested itself in our lives, in our communities. And talk about what you're going to be doing at the beginning of the year and throughout 2022.
Absolutely.
To spread this word and not more than just identify it, but to really sort of tease it out and talk with people about the intricacies of it.
Absolutely. We're very excited. Our goal in 2022 is to have at least 10 of these community cafes. We're going to be going out into individual community areas. Our first one is going to be in the Sandy Run area and New River, and then we're going to move into Commons, and we're just going to branch out through the community. And we have some volunteers that are going to be helping us with this, and we're going to be at churches or community centers, wherever we can find a little place to be. And we're going to invite families and parents in to learn about resilience. We're going to run the resilience video, so they're going to learn about resilience, what it does to the body, what it does to a growing brain. And we're going to talk about how does that equate in your neighborhood, what is happening in your neighborhood, what do we need to see to make things better. We want to be a proactive community. We want to be a part of raising our next generation, and we're very excited to be starting this. So everybody needs to be looking out for flyers and all kinds of ways that we're gonna get the word out. Facebook, if you could be on our peers Facebook. We also have a TASCO Facebook. Everything's going to be shot out through social media, and we're very excited about this.
Well, it just goes back to the proverb of it takes a village, and you all are some of our chief village leaders who have taken on this role of not just helping children, but helping parents be better parents.
Absolutely. We are firm believers that we are the village, and we're very excited and honored to be the lead agency here and to move this forward within our community and to eradicate child abuse and neglect in Onslow County.
Well, I think that is a wonderful wish and hope, especially during this season. We thank you for what you all and everyone engaged with peers and with TASCO does for the lives of our children and our families. And we're going to direct people again to your Facebook site, both for peers and for TASCO, to learn more about your community cafes so that we can all make better lives for our families.
Absolutely.
Katie, thank you, and I wish you and everyone and the children whose lives you touch a very happy holiday season.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back to Onslow County Today, and I don't think we get much more festive than you all. Welcome to Onslow County Today. We have Matt Mano with the Onslow County Public Library and Jennifer Hogue also with our library via the North Pole, right, Jennifer?
Oh yes.
Took a little
Straight
detour.
from there.
Took a little detour. We are so happy to have you all with us. There's a lot going on always at our libraries, but December, you all are rocking it. So Matt, we're going to start with you because Matt, since I think we visited last, you've had a change in job title and scope of work. So tell us about your new position.
So I'm in public communications now, so I get to do all the marketing and fun stuff to tell everybody about our programs. So not only, I've kind of exited youth services, but I feel like I know more about programs now than I did.
All right, so you've broadened your audience,
absolutely,
so to speak, and you're serving every branch. So we're going to put you to work.
Yes.
And test you.
We're ready.
What is going on at all of the libraries this December?
Okay, we have, 2 hours? No.
Go. No, but let's go, folks, because it is always so much going on, especially during the holiday season when families are home and they're looking for some special activities. So tell us what you all have in store.
Well, all of our branches are gearing up for a lot of specific programs, special programs, family programs. They're kicking off their winter, of course, with book clubs. We have our book clubs all the way from elementary up to adults, so be sure to check each branch. They got different ones going on. They've switched up some of the family story times, so check your ages, check your times, check your days. We're still offering all the great story times, but some of the branches have switched some of them. So we want to make sure that you guys are going to get the most out of what you can.
Sure.
Sneed's Ferry has a lot going on out there at their branch. They're going to be doing a game on and a family code night. They have a lot of movie nights coming up as well. Main Library has some special programs that Jennifer will touch on too. We also have some very exciting challenges coming up. Our Winter Reading Challenge. So that'll be January 1st through the end of February.
Okay.
And if you participate in our Summer Reading Challenge, this is kind of like a condensed version. Okay. It's a little more passive, but we still do the Read Squared online platform. So if they do ocpl.readsquared.com, they can sign up for that. It's going to kick off January 1st. They log their minutes to read, and then they'll be able to win cool prizes too.
Fantastic.
So it's just a way, as the kids kind of have off that Christmas time. And of course, we won't be doing summer reading until the summer. So this is just kind of a mid-year point for them to be able to do something to get excited about.
And also, it's cold.
It is.
You want to,
We're
maybe
inside more.
we want to hang out inside, but we don't want to, just you know, all apologies to everybody who loves video games, but we don't want to just do that. Even if the big guy brings us some cool new
Yes.
stuff, maybe the big guy will bring us some cool new books.
And,
Oh, yes.
and even if he does, our tablets and our phones and everything, there's so many apps that you can get your e-readers, your e-books, audiobooks, even streaming video. The library has tons of awesome subscriptions that are free to all of our patrons with their library card.
Fantastic, as well as we've had not quite a year of NC Cardinal.
Right. We actually are just going up on a year now,
Okay.
end of November.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been using the consortium for over a year now. We are sending books out, getting books in, and of course we have we're now connected with libraries all over the state. So if there is nothing that you can find at OCPL, you will find it in our catalog, because we are now connected with all those other libraries, free to bring books in, and it's free to our users.
And also, you know, we might be waiting at our airport for our flight, or maybe we want to just hide away from the hubbub a little bit. It's the perfect time.
Absolutely, and even if you're at the airport, we have the power tower out there that you can access the library resources with as well.
So perfect time
Yeah.
to start that new read. Now, Miss Jennifer,
Yes.
you too have had a little bit of a change of job description. It's technically, I think, your first time with Onslow County today with us,
Yes.
but tell us your official title with the public library system.
So I am a youth service program assistant at the main library. I specifically do the story times for ages 0 to 5s and any of the preschool programs. Obviously, we still do a lot of things for the families, but that's my specific thing. A lot of the viewers might know me as Miss Jen, because
Miss
that's what
Jen.
yeah, that's what all the kids call me. So, but I, specifically do the story times and any of the family programs geared towards ages 0 to 5.
You know, over this last 20 months or so, there's been a lot of virtual programming,
Yes.
a lot of dancing.
Yes.
So you all have kept things going for us all, and we are so grateful to that. And you're going to take us right through the winter now, Miss Jen,
Yes.
with what's going on for our kiddos.
Yeah, so obviously I'm in my attire for our Elf in the Woods program. This is going to be my 3rd year being the Storytime Elf for Elf in the Woods with Parks and Rec. So I'll be out there at Hines Farms doing the story time for our little ones. And that's going to be from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on December 15th. So it's going to be out in Hines Farms. So we're
Fantastic.
super excited about that. We're going to be meeting our elf and some of his very good friends who are little animals. So, and we'll be taking a walk in the woods to find our elf, and it'll just be a lot of fun for the whole family.
Well, you know, Miss LaQuisha and I were talking a little bit earlier about Elf in the Woods, and I told her, I said, you know, you just never know where you might meet one.
Nope.
You just don't know. Talk to us a little bit about, Jen, the joy of story time and watching children get excited about books and words.
I mean, it's obviously I do it for a reason. I absolutely love what I do, and just being able to, and story time's not just about reading. It's not just about the book. It's about singing and playing and talking, and storytime is also about socialization for children, and about learning how to stand in line, waiting your turn, manners. So it's all about that. But obviously, being at the library, our biggest love is books, and so I always read 2 books, and I love being interactive with the books and getting the kids interacting with the books and getting the parents interacting with the books, because if the kid sees a parent loving the book or smiling or laughing, the kid's going to do it too. So that's that's really what we're trying to do with our story times. It's just making it something fun for the kids, because that's what story time's all about.
That's what it's about.
It is.
Now, off camera, we've all been talking about our favorite holiday gifts, our favorite Christmas present. And books have always been a big part of what we've shared. I have to ask, what was your favorite kids book that you received as a present?
I Love You Forever.
I Love You Forever.
Yes, that is my all-time favorite kids book. I still read it to my kids, and I still read it at story times. It's just it's a classic book about, you know, being a parent and watching your kid grow, and then the kid becoming a parent as well, taking care of the parent. And so it's a whole lifetime story of what a mother and what a child goes through in the transition. So that was my favorite book I ever got. So.
I Love You Forever. Mr. Matt?
No, I was much older. It was Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
It's of course one of those series that every kid, you know, what boosted them into reading, and I think that's what boosted me too. And once I started reading them, I couldn't put them down, and I would get one for Christmas. I don't know, I loved it. It just
Harry Potter, the magic.
Yeah, it really was.
The magic. So, books are magical. Christmas presents, holiday presents, birthday presents, Tuesdays.
Yep.
They're just the best. But, you know, we want to remember that our libraries give us access to so many things.
Absolutely.
And sort of an intro to the new year, you all have your winter reading challenge. And then for kiddos, you've got a couple of things. Typically, we don't always encourage our kids to wear their pajamas in public.
No.
But you all do.
Yes.
What have you got going on?
We are encouraging not only our kids, but our families as a whole to come out to the main library on December 17th from 5:30 to 7:30 to have a fun-filled night of wearing your pajamas in the library. There's going to be crafts, there's going to be activities, and then obviously we're going to have our Santa Claus coming in. And so that way kids can see Santa, they can write a letter to Santa beforehand as well, but they'll be able to sit with Santa, read a story, eat some delicious popcorn bar stuff, and drink hot cocoa, and just have a really fun night as a family, because library is more than just books. It's you know, getting families together, and
it's books and dancing.
Yes.
And celebration.
Yes.
And then you all are going to say farewell to 2021.
Yes.
But for those of us who can't always make it to midnight, you all have helped us out. So we've got New Year's Eve, Richlands, so Maine first.
Maine first at 11, and then Swansboro at 11:30.
Okay.
Yes. So
all right.
We have 2 opportunities for kiddos and their families to go to one of our branches and just dance and have fun. And then they're going to ring in the New Year's at noon, and instead of midnight. And so then that way, yes, I know a lot of people can't stay up until midnight, I being one of them. And so just being able to dance and get the kiddos tired before you take them home to take a nap.
There you go. Kick off the new year a little early.
Yes. And there's nothing wrong with that.
But also, that is perfectly okay. Just a big celebration. Thank you all. Now, you've told us so much. There's so much going on. We also know you have numerous platforms, Mr. Matt, to make sure that we know what's going on. So share with us the ways in which we can make sure that our calendar doesn't miss anything.
Absolutely. So, of course, social media, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter, Onslow County Public Library. And then on our website, we have our winter newsletter for December, January, and February up. We now are subscribed to Wildberry, so if you'd like a weekly e-newsletter, you can subscribe to that on our website. It's onslowcountync.gov/library. Right on the homepage, you can see what's new, see the upcoming programs. And then, of course, if all else fails, you can call us at 910-455-7350 as well.
Fantastic. Well, wishing you all, and I don't even think I need to because you're already there.
We're ready.
A very happy holiday season. Thank you all for helping us kick off this very special time of year.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having us.
Happy New Year.
Welcome back to Onslow County Today, and joining us now is Harry Smith, Onslow County Tax Administrator. Harry, happy holidays.
Thank you, Lisa. Happy holidays to you also.
We've been talking the last couple of months about different things on the tax calendar, if you will.
Right.
And as we approach the end of the year, we have 2 things we want to remind our viewers about. And the first thing is listing property. So explain a little bit about what that means and what that schedule looks like.
Okay, sure. Yeah, each year our taxpayers who own personal property are required to file a listing form with the tax office just to verify that they still own the property, or it also gives them an opportunity to delete anything that they may have disposed of during the prior year or add any new items. And
Okay.
when we're talking about personal property, we're talking about things like boats and motors and manufactured homes that are classified as personal property, business personal property, which includes machinery and fixtures, office equipment, computers, those types of things that are used in an income producing capacity.
Okay. You know, one of the, I always learn something new every time you send me my homework to do. And so we talk about those things that are essentially not our houses, right? Not our homes that we live in, that we own.
That's correct.
This is our personal property, and boats, motorcycles, airplanes, as one flies overhead, all of those things. But the other thing that really kind of jumped out at me this year for me to learn something new is people who own rental properties who have fixtures within them, like furniture. If you're renting a condo, all of that is considered the personal property.
Right, yeah. Typically personal property, household furnishings are not taxable, with the exception if it's used for income producing. Like you said, if you're renting your house on a short-term rental or long-term and you're providing personal property furnishings, those types of things are still required to be listed since it's being used to produce income.
Okay, and we list that each year and create sort of that itemized list for you.
Right, that's correct.
Okay, now what is the schedule for making sure that we get that to you on time, Harry?
Well, our listing department, we process our listed forms in December. We try to get those out the week before Christmas in the mail, and those basically go out to anybody that had listed property the prior year. Like in 2021, they would be getting a form that's already pre-populated with what was listed this year. If someone did not list in the current year or the prior year but needs to list, then they can contact our office to get a listing form either emailed to them or sent to them, or it's also available on our website.
And this is a time, as you say, for us to update it. So we may not own that property or that item any longer, and we can have that deleted. But what is the timeline on if we no longer, say for example, I had a boat, I sold my boat, is there a timeline or is that a calendar year ownership?
Well, if you own the property as of January 1st,
okay,
that's our magic date for taxation.
Okay.
Taxes are based on the ownership as of January 1st each year. So if you sold your boat prior to January 1st, then it needs to be taken off your listing form so we don't tax it for 2022.
For 2022, okay.
Right.
All right, so that's our magic.
Right.
That's our magic date to think about.
And that does get confusing with taxpayers because each year we'll have some taxpayers who may have disposed of their property in the first half of the year. They still owned it January 1st, and then they get a tax bill and say, well, hey, I sold that back in March, but the way the tax laws are written, it's based on January 1st, so they're still responsible for that bill for that year.
All right, very good. Now also this listing also includes any changes to our real property.
That's correct. Well, we do not send listing forms out to our real property owners, but we do always send the annual tax listing requirements form out or a letter out. And that basically is just to advise real estate property owners that if they made any changes, most of the time we pick those up through building permit process, but the law actually requires the owner notify us. Okay. And sometimes things may not have a permit issued, like an agricultural building or maybe just a small deck or something. But we do ask our real estate properties to notify us so that we can correct their records and make sure everything's up to date also.
Make sure it's most current and that we have an accurate depiction of that property.
That's correct.
All right. Now, we've got our property listed, but back in back in September, I got my tax bill.
Right.
Okay, and so tell me about, it's actually time now to pay my county taxes. Talk a little bit about that process and the timeline there.
Well, the timeline is basically the bills are due September 1st each year, as you mentioned. They have to be paid on or before January 5th to avoid interest charges. Okay. And of course, we know a lot of folks like to wait till towards the end of the year to make their tax payment. We do try to make it as convenient as possible for our taxpayers to pay their taxes. Obviously, the easiest way is to send in the payment coupon along with the check and mail it in. If they prefer to bring it down to the office, there's a drop box located out the entrance to the Onslow County Government Center at 234 Northwest Corridor Boulevard. We also have online payment options available. They can go to the Onslow County Tax Office website and there's a link off the county homepage and pay it electronically, either by debit card, credit card, or electronic check.
Okay.
And of course, some folks like to come visit us in person, which is fine. Our office will be open from 8 o'clock to 5 Monday through Friday, and we do have some holidays coming up, so we want to remind folks of those dates also. In case they decide to come visit us in person, we'll be closed on December 23rd, 24th, and 27th for Christmas. And since January 1st is on a weekend this year, we'll be closed on New Year's Eve, which is Friday, December 31st.
Very good. So that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday before Christmas, right? Thursday,
Friday, Monday, I think.
Thursday, Friday, Monday of Christmas.
Right.
Okay, so 23, 24,
27, and then 31st.
31st.
Right.
Okay, so those are days for folks who don't want to, who want to pay in person. They need to be mindful that we'll be closed those days.
Right.
And then we'll also be closed some days in January as well. So they'll need to be mindful of that. They also need to remember that when they're coming into the county offices, we still have some protocols in place. Still want to be careful about that, mindful of that.
Yeah.
And we also have, for folks who might have not visited us in a while, a security check. So all things to keep in mind.
Right, absolutely. And also, if you come in person, it does help if you bring your payment stubs or your bills with you, just to make sure we don't miss anything. And if you can make your check out ahead of time, it speeds the process line, because typically there's a fairly large number of folks that come at that time of year, and there's always a line. So we encourage people to either come early or try to mail it in or pay it online.
So just like doing our holiday shopping, we need to go ahead and plan, do things as early as we can, and be patient.
That's exactly right. Thank you.
Okay, so reminding folks about listing, and reminding folks about their tax bill coming due as of January, one more time?
January 5th.
January 5th. So this is sort of that last big moment.
Right, that's correct.
To do that. Harry, when folks have questions, though, about any of this that we've discussed, how's the best way to reach your department and get their best answers?
Well, we have a lot of questions that are answered online if they go to our website at onslowcountync.gov/tax. A lot of information is available there, and also the phone numbers for our office is there. It's the main number is 989-2200, and there are also on our website numbers for each division of the office should they have a real estate question or a collections question or a listings question regarding their personal property. They can call those departments directly.
Very good. Harry, one more thing we want to remind folks about who have perhaps never visited our government center, if we can kind of orient them about how to find your offices.
Okay, we're located on the second floor of the Onslow County Government Center. It's 234 Northwest Corridor Boulevard, about 3 miles outside of Jacksonville, heading towards Richlands.
Okay.
And just come in, you have to check in, as you mentioned, with the security person at the front desk, and then they will give you directions after your screening to come up to our office on the second floor.
Very good. Well, Harry Smith, thank you always. As I say, I always learn something new from you, and I appreciate you taking something that can be very complex for people to understand and really breaking it down to make it as simplified and as understandable as possible. We always appreciate that.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And as always, happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Welcome back to Onslow County Today, and joining us now is our airport director, Chris White. Chris, welcome.
Welcome, thank you.
Now, we've seen some pretty exciting news going on with our airport, but it seems like every year we have exciting news. You know, we build a new terminal, we build a wonderful, wonderful tower, and now you've just gotten some very important news from the North Carolina state budget. Tell us about it.
Yes, well, we like to say that we opened in 1971 and we've been under construction since. We always have projects going on that are refreshing and renewing and expanding, and this allocation in the state budget this year will allow us to extend the runway, which will necessitate the relocation of Highway 111. This is not a project that'll happen tomorrow.
Right.
It'll take a couple years for this project to gin up and finish its environmental. and so forth. So,
But, that's a pretty fantastic 50th birthday present, right?
right.
You've just been celebrating this whole year, and to have your 50th anniversary culminate in a great allocation and in a great vision. I mean, it's not just an allotment in your budget or in the budget. This is a real investment in our community.
Well, for the last decade or so, we've been undergoing a redevelopment program, and it's seen by the commissioners as, let's remove any constraints to growth. Anything that inhibits our ability to grow, attract new jobs, attract new air service, and improve the airport, let's do things that take care of that. The runway length limits some activities at the airport. For example, occasionally we get to propose on new economic development projects. They require a minimum of 8,000 feet. So we're going to extend the runway from 7,100 to 8,000 feet.
Okay.
It'll also allow airplanes to leave with a full load of fuel and full load of passengers and so forth, because during the hot summer months, when we have the most thunderstorms, they need to carry a little extra fuel.
Okay.
So in the past, they had taken some passengers off or some luggage off, or wouldn't sell the airplane to 100% of its capacity. This longer runway will help with that. It'll also might help us to attract longer haul flights, maybe something out west or up north that need a little longer runway because they need to carry a little bit more fuel. Not necessarily larger airplanes, because we do have airplanes as large as 767s come to the airport. The problem is they can't leave full of fuel and full of passengers. Longer runway will help with that.
I don't think that people who travel, I want to get to the airport, I want to get through security, and I want to get on the plane, and I want to get to my destination. But there's so many practical and technical situations that would have never even occurred to me. Is, well, why can't that plane land here, or why can it land here, and why can my destination only be so far away? Yeah. Right? I mean, it's very practical. So this allocation will go toward alleviating, helping to alleviate some of those impediments.
That's great. That's great. It'll enhance safety as well. Pilots like more runway, so the amount of runway you need is dependent upon your temperature, your altitude, whether it's raining, snowing, whatever the environmental conditions are, like how heavy the airplane is and the performance characteristics of the airplane. There are many different things there. And right now we fall short a little bit in some of those categories. So by extending the runway, we'll be able to fill in that and compete more effectively for jobs and air service.
This means so much to this region, being able to offer that here. I mean, right here in Onslow County, to have all those offerings. Already you have a really terrific airport with access to so many places, flying, as we fly into Charlotte and flying to Atlanta and then points beyond.
Right.
But I can't imagine how excited you were, Chris, when you saw that final budget come through.
I was grinning ear to ear, and I really want to thank Representative Shepard and Senator Lazara and Senator Brown, Senator Harry Brown, for helping us. This has not been a short-term project. It's been a long-term project, and we appreciate their help.
It's about vision. And it's about investment in our community, and as you say, seeing that there are no impediments to growth, and what that will mean to our community. Chris, I always want to go back to the vision for the airport, and not just the vision, but who it is and what it is as an institution. As we mentioned earlier, you've had your 50th anniversary this year. In a time that's been very challenging to the travel industry, yes. And your team has been phenomenal.
They have stepped up and done an exceptional job all the way across the board dealing with this pandemic, dealing with the economic challenges of the decline in aviation, dealing with the rapid recovery that we have seen here in Onslow County, far faster than the nation as a whole. It's a testament to the quality people that we have out there, as well as our business partners that are out there at the airport as well.
And one thing that you have always been terrific about is noting all the players, but also ultimately what OAJ contributes to the economy of Onslow County. And do we have figures? Do you know what we're looking at for this year?
Right. Well, the most recent study that came out in January shows 3,460 jobs.
Wow.
And an economic impact of over $565 million a year. That's exceptional, and it continues to grow every year. We generate almost $20 million a year in state and local taxes that go to help lower the tax rate for Onslow County residents, and we can continue to do more of that as we get passengers or people that might choose another airport. If we can get them to choose OHA, we can get more air service, and those numbers that impact can grow.
Now we know that with growth, there'll be moments where people will need to be a little more patient as we look at construction, roadways, all of those things. But ultimately, it's this investment in making it more convenient, more options, and a better opportunity for our community as well.
We're always trying to minimize that impact, but yes.
Okay, so we've got a lot to look forward to. We've had 50 years, as you say, of continuous growth and improvement and change. And I know that you're looking forward to what comes next. What will the community begin to see? I know you said it's long term, but as we're sort of thinking about what's next for our airport, what do you have to share with us?
This particular project will take us a little while to do the design. So we expect next year is mostly spent on the design. This year we'll finish, hopefully this year and the beginning of next year we'll finish the environmental studies that are required, and then we'll get in design, and then we will start on that. And hopefully they'll start on the roadway and the runway simultaneously. We'll be able to bid those projects together. We're also going to rehabilitate the entire runway. That was already planned, and we're in the process right now. If you go out to the airport, you'll see construction going right now. And we're rehabilitating the parallel taxiway, milling and overlaying that 20-year-old asphalt with something fresh and new, expanding and building a holding pad so that weather delays, planes don't block each other. It's an interesting process. But there will be other things, a lot of things like additional gates at the airport or the terminal will be driven by what the demand is. And as that comes, we've set ourselves up to easily expand the terminal building, relatively easily expand the terminal building when the time comes. So we just want to fill those seats and get more airlines interested in getting the existing airlines to look at additional destinations. So all those things are demand driven. We hope to build more hangars in the not too distant future and a whole lot of other things like that.
Well, it's all about the vision, and we are so grateful to have you. I was going to say at the helm, but that's not really airplane appropriate. Behind the oak. Okay. We're glad to have you there, Chris, and your team, and again, all of the support that you've received from the commissioners and our legislative representatives, and what that means for Onslow County. And we cannot wait to see what comes next. Welcome back to Onslow County today, and we've just had a visit with Chris White, Director of the Albert J. Ellis Airport. Joining us now is Deputy Director Mitch Sprunger. Mitch, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
So we've heard about some great things that are going on at your airport, and it's just been tremendous to watch. We've also had some challenging times. I can't even tell you how many times we've had to say that. But it's the holiday season. People are ready to see relatives, and they're traveling, they're getting back out there, and we want to make sure that it's as convenient and easy as possible. The first thing that makes it easy is we want to fly local. Mitch, talk about how important that is to our community.
Yeah, absolutely. It's convenient, it's affordable, and yeah, it benefits our economy locally. And why not? You have choice. You have all the options you need here. So I would strongly recommend flying locally.
And you know, my favorite billboard that you all have is the two little kids in the back seat and saying there are a lot easier ways to get to grandma's house and a lot quicker, and that means flying out right here and not spending 2 hours in the car, right?
Yes. Anyone with small children can relate to that billboard. I have an 8 and 5-year-old, and we've all been through that experience before. So cut the drive and just fly out of OAJ and don't experience that.
Plus, when they get to your airport, you always have a big, beautiful Christmas tree up. You've got those great Adirondack rocking chairs. It's a great little place, you know, to get your kids ready and get them inspired before we get on the plane to grandma's house.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, a very comfortable terminal. We're actually putting up our tree today. And yeah, arrive early. I mean, that's one of the key points, right, with your children. And you can grab a bite to eat, grab a drink, and it's going to make your check-in process a lot smoother.
And you also have some things to keep us engaged while we're there too. So you have changing art exhibits and displays. You've got cool things that you display under your stairwell. And if all else fails, you've got the only escalator in town, right?
Absolutely, yes. The only escalators in Onslow County.
So kids love it. Kids love it.
Just be careful on those.
Just be careful, but you know, it's exciting.
It's very exciting.
Having an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old, you know.
Absolutely.
So we want to fly local is our first choice to make during the holiday season. But what should we remember in order to make our flight more comfortable for everyone so that we don't feel like we're rushing? What are some best tips you can give us?
Well, I would say familiarize yourself with the airline that you're flying, their baggage policies that they have. Of course, show up early, as I mentioned before. At OAJ, normally I'd say an hour to an hour and a half is a good time frame. I would recommend 2 hours during the holiday season, especially if you do have the children. Of course, if you can check in early, you know, you have mobile apps now, check in and get your boarding pass printed out. That'll save you some time. And then also familiarize yourself with TSA.gov and their carry-on policies and what's allowable in your bags. They have the 3-1-1 policy, 3-quart bag, 3-ounce bottles inside a 1-quart bag per passenger. Yes, ma'am. So arrive early, and of course, if you do have the children, pack plenty of snacks, games, entertainment, and yes. And then another important thing would be with the hub airports. If you are not familiar with those, go online, look out the layouts of the airports. I mean, Atlanta has close to 200 gates. Right. Charlotte's over 100. So just familiarize yourself with that and maybe where you may be landing at that airport.
So we don't want to look like the mom in Home Alone tearing through the airport trying to get there before our next flight and potentially missing it. The other thing certainly that comes to mind this time of year, we're blessed here in eastern North Carolina that we very rarely see snow and ice.
That's right.
But we do have destinations that we might be heading to. So talk about, you know, just weather impacts.
You're absolutely right. This time of year, snow and ice, especially where you're going, it can have impacts. So just keep up on the news. Before you arrive at the airport, take a look, see if there's any delays. You can go to FAA.gov and see if there's any delays at the airport that you're flying into or out of. But yes, you are correct. We're fortunate that we don't deal with that much here.
Okay, so arrive early. Have everybody, you know, do your mobile check-in if at all possible. Print off your boarding pass. Be ready to go. Plenty of snacks, and not just for kids, but you know, mom and dad too.
That's right.
Be aware of any restrictions or limitations. and check in with your airline that you're flying through to see if there are any specific guidance that they will give as well. Mitch, the last thing, and the thing that I always find, is that even in the hectic holiday season of flying anywhere, but at OAJ, everybody's just so pleasant. I mean, you all must manufacture happiness at that airport. I don't know what's, in one of those big terminals, back rooms that you've got. Is that what you're doing out there? I mean, everybody on your team is always just so terrific and helpful.
Yes, have a fantastic staff, a lot of pleasant people to be around, and we just want to make the experience as comfortable and welcoming as possible. So you're always going to see a smile on our faces and making sure that your facility looks great and is clean and comfortable for your flight.
Well, it always is, and we remind people, last but not least, during the holiday season, we want to eat local, we want to shop local, and finally, Mitch, what do we want to do?
Buy local, fly OAJ.
Fly OAJ. Thank you as always. Happy holidays to you and your family, and we look forward to our next big adventure out of OAJ.
Thank you very much.
Thank you as always for joining us for Onslow County today, and a very special thank you to each of our guests who joined us to kick off this season of holiday cheer. But we also want to remind you to think about your neighbors, check in on them, see what they might need, and bring a holiday cheer to their door. For Onslow County today, I'm Lisa Whitman Grice. Happy holidays, and we'll see you next year.